The wait for that crescendo. That is Greg Billings. I am Kenny Schofield. This is the American Car Classics Radio Podcast, and I say Greg Billings. That's part of the Stranger Band. We appreciate Greg supplying the music to us each and every week. In segments, out segments. Bryce does all that. Behind the scenes is Bryce Shonka, as always, my producer, and I appreciate him so much for all the work he does and everything he puts up with me. Hope everybody's been well. It's been a couple of weeks since we've seen you. It's been a couple of weeks since we've seen you, and I hope that everybody has been well. I went off to Chattanooga for the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival. It was a great time. I took the 70 Nova Lucy. We did a little over 1,800 miles. We had that new motor and transmission rear end package in there. Couple little things I didn't like, and we had to change when I got back, but great trip, safe. Weather was beautiful. I don't know what else to say about it, but we're going to talk. Yeah, I do know what else to say about it. We're going to talk to James Redman. He is the founder with his dad, Brian Redman, of Targa 66, and we're going to get them on the phone a little bit and talk about how it went down for Targa 66 at the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival, and even more for James's what's coming up for him in 2024 as he has moved from Palm Beach Raceway out to the Homestead Raceway, in Miami, for his Targa 66 program that's coming up in February. So we'll be talking about that. We have some great news today. We've got another guest coming on. We're going to talk to Melissa Dunn-Wise, who is the daughter of Henry Dana, who is putting on the Hot Rods for Henry car show. It's part of his foundation, as we lost him to suicide, and that sucks. But this is all about the prevention and knowledge that people need to know that there are people out there that suffer that don't always talk about it. Anyway, so I went out to her event in Stewart, and it was awesome. We had a lot of fun, and we're going to talk to her on the phone a little bit later about it as well. We got some news coming up. We got some stuff. We're going to talk about SEMA for a couple minutes. We're going to talk about Mecum Auctions as always. I did talk to John Craman a little earlier, and he gave me some feed on what's going on for Kissimmee coming back in 2024 in January. It's going to be incredible. So we'll be talking about all that. So I think we're going to get right into James Redman and get him on the phone.
Good afternoon.
Hey, James, it's Kenny. How are you?
I'm good, Kenny. How are you?
I'm good. How have you been? I haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
Good. Yeah, nothing too exciting going on.
I want to start off real quick with recapping Chattanooga Motorcar Festival, which this was the 4th annual, 5th year, but your first year participating in it, even though your family has been tight with Chattanooga Motorcar Festival since its inception. How do you feel that it went walking away from it?
It was good. I mean, you probably saw a lot more of it than I did. Of course, I was at the track for most of the week. So stuff went great. We had a good turnout. The turnout of the pre-war cars or the brass era cars was absolutely spectacular, as you saw. And we had a great spectator turnout, so it all went very well for us.
Yeah, you had great vendors, great weather, which I'd asked you previously, and you said, hey, we're not going to worry about that because we can't. And the weather was spectacular. The turnout was great. The participation was really good. You had a drifter out there who absolutely slayed the course. And then on the other extreme gamut was the brassies, the old 1903s and stuff, and those are so incredible. And we talked about them for a second, James. Those aren't going 5 miles an hour.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, I mean, I'd never seen them running full belt, and they were really going. Some of them were pretty quick. It looked very hairy, and it was wonderful, wasn't it, to be able to see the guys sitting on the cars. They weren't really in the cars; they were sitting on the cars. You could see them working away at the steering wheel, and the oil pressure pump on the outside of the cockpit.
Yes, sir.
It was really spectacular.
Yeah, I don't know what I love more about them as far as watching them roll through a corner at probably 40 or 50 miles an hour with these giant 28-inch wheels. They're wooden in some cases, or is it the two guys that are up there that are smiling that you can't tell where it begins because it's from ear to ear? I mean, it is, and you know this isn't their first time in it doing it. It's just so fabulous to see. So I'm glad to know that it went well for you, and I know that you didn't get to watch a lot because you were the business behind it all. But I'll tell you from a spectator point, we loved it. We thought it was incredible. Byron has worked hard to get good viewpoints. They had out there on the grass island several places, and he brought out a tent for beverages, and it was loaded out there on the other side of the bridge. I was blown away and impressed by it all. So
Yeah, I think I ran into you guys when you're on the way back there. I never actually made it over the bridge, but I heard from you and from some of the drivers too. Actually, they saw everybody there in that kind of that family fun zone with the mound in the middle where you could see, the track basically went all around the mound, didn't it? It was pretty cool. Yeah,
it was so cool. When you were up on the mound, you could see almost all the way around. We kept laughing at this smart car that was out there, but this thing was cranking, and all 6.5 feet long of it, and when it came into one of the corners off the mound there, it really locked his brake up each corner to not push it too hard into a tire.
Yeah.
But he held it and it was fun. I think everybody there had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a fun car. That was one of my favorite cars. And talking to Randy Slimani, and he's the owner of that. He actually made a good point. If you think about it, Kenny, it is a mid-engine car. So, the weight distribution, even though it looks taller than it is long, the weight distribution is pretty good. It's a short wheelbase, but it is mid-engine with that. What is it, a 3-cylinder Mercedes engine, I think?
It is a 3-cylinder Mercedes, and it is a short wheelbase. We joke about it, but no, it actually did hold its own quite well out there. And we were in awe at first, but it was smiles again watching it go around the track. So. Tell me.
And we had another local entrant in the Polaris Slingshot, which you see on the road around here a lot, but it was first time seeing on the track, and that guy just wanted to go out and play with it, and he had a blast also.
Yeah, because where else can you do that, James? I mean, if it's people are on the street, but that's dumb. I mean, let's get to a track. There are so many available spots for people to go, especially with the Targa 66. Let's talk about your Targa 66. We recap again from the last show that you shared with us. This is open to the public. You don't have to be a race car driver to do this. You don't have to own a race car, right?
Correct. Yes, we allow most any cars in. I mean, obviously we'll draw the line if it comes to the safety issue. Yes, we have old cars, new cars, open wheel cars, closed wheel cars, street cars, all sorts of different things for people that just want to get together, with the right kind of people with the right mindset and enjoy themselves on the track.
Tell me about what's coming up in 2024. Like I said, Palm Beach Raceway has been shut down. You have moved your run out to Homestead Raceway in Miami, and this is going to be held when?
Yep. It is February 16th, 17th, and 18th. Same weekend as the Daytona 500, which often happens at that time of year, but it doesn't really affect our entry too much.
No.
The guys would rather drive the cars than watch other people drive cars, so it doesn't hurt us. And I hadn't been to Homestead, and I checked it out last year before our February event this year, and it's cool. The road course is great, 15 corners. We don't use the banking, but it's still a long over 2-mile road course.
And 15 corners, you said?
Yep. And it's actually, believe it or not, when you get onto the infield, it's actually got a little bit of elevation change. The track kind of drops away from you in a sweeping right-hand corner, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, I like that. What's the total length of the course? Do you know?
I think we're over 2 miles. I'm not sure exactly how much it is.
And that's a good long track to have a run on.
It is, yeah, and it is. It's great. And, for people that do come, it's great compared to Palm Beach because we've got the garages for everybody, which, as you know, going to the races, setting up some of these huge transporters with their awnings, is a major job. So having the garages available is great. We use the pit suite, which is above Victory Lane for hospitality, breakfast and lunch each day. It's just a nice weekend out playing with cars. Yeah.
For anybody that is listening and doesn't know enough about it, go online and find Targa 66. You're spelling this out, the full thing. And James's cell phone number is there. And if you need to reach out and register for this, it's going to be great. I tell you, James, that Bryce and I would like to come out in February and hang out and watch this thing and become and continue to get more involved with it. it because we love the program, the different classes. I can bring my Nova out there. A guy could bring his smart car out there, or Brian Johnson from ACDC could bring his Lola out, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, it's also, it's great getting on the track with cars. I mean, we had this past February, one of our regular members brought his Jacques Villeneuve World Championship winning Formula One Williams and shipped in the mechanics from England to run it for him. We had Carlos de Quesada, who does a lot of racing. He brought his ex-James Hunt McLaren Formula One car. We had Trans Am Mustangs from the Golden Age. We had a real original IROC Camaro from the actual IROC racing series. Lots of old Lotuses, a lot of other Formula cars. So it's not just, regular street cars. We get all sorts of prototypes and all sorts of open wheel cars out there.
Well, that is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, James, I really appreciate you taking our call and getting on here with us today. You always are appreciated. And I do want to say out one more time, you're a good friend, and I really appreciate you taking the time for doing this. And not just this, but Targa 66, keeping guys on the track and off the streets. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and I hope to talk to you again soon. And thanks. It was wonderful to see you in Chattanooga, Kenny, and I'm glad your journey there and back went smoothly as far as I can gather.
It did. Driving across country in a classic car, I don't know, man, it's just one of those things that's so great. So, yeah, and we will see you soon and talk to you soon, and thank you very much.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot, Kenny.
All right, bye-bye. All right, everybody, this is the American Car Classics. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to regroup for the next segment. We got some crazy stuff going on with some crazy news out of the EV world, and we're going to continue talking about, like I said, SEMA, Meekum. We've got another caller coming on, Melissa. We're going to talk about hot rods for Henry and much more. Stay tuned, will you? Welcome back to another segment here with the American Car Classics radio program. I'm Kenny Schofield, and with me is Bryce Shonka behind the microphone there. So that was a great first segment for me to be able to talk to James. When we saw him there, he was busy. He was running around crazy. But driving out to Chattanooga, Bryce, I don't know, you when you came here from Washington, you drove your car.
Yeah, I've been through Chattanooga a couple of times.
But you drove across the country, huh?
Yeah, I've done that 3 times.
I've never done that. I've never gone that far. I mean, to Illinois, and then I drove from Illinois to Wyoming once, but I haven't done that. So that's probably 3,000 miles, right? Close to it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So our round trip was a little over 1,800 miles, but we had so much fun. It's just, gosh, man, I don't know, for the guys that get in a car and you get in your classic car and you go off to a car show, maybe even you drive 80 miles to a car show, maybe even go across the state. Like we have the River Ranch show in the middle of the state every winter, February, March. And we drive here. It's an hour plus getting there. We have people that come from other places that are a couple hours away. Probably people more that ship them in and do stuff like that. But it's a big 700 car show. And it's just a great to get in the car and drive. So when we took off and we know that we're heading out of Florida, first of all, we're not going to work for 10 days, 2 weeks. That right there is your big breath in. But to take off and get in this car,
which you just did some work on.
Yeah, well, we just when I got Lucy 3 years ago, the 70 Nova that we have, it was a 24,000 original mile inline 6-cylinder, 2-speed transmission with a 10-bolt, 1-wheel peel rear end, 14-inch wheels. And I drove that for about a year and a half. In fact, I've got a tech talk question, talks more about that, so we'll save some of that. But we did put a crate motor in it, a GM 350 crate motor in it with 365 horse. We put a 700 R4 transmission in it. that hadn't really been tested, and that trip did test it, and it has already been pulled out of the car. My 350 turbo has been put back in for a meanwhile, and I'm getting that transmission built because I shouldn't have tried to take the trip in it. When I got back, I had my training guy get in. He goes, 3rd and 4 slipping so bad, man, I wouldn't drive it too far.
Oh, wow.
I told 1,800 miles ago, I would have been good to know.
So it sounded good. It looked good. But
it looked good.
The transmission was not up to the job.
No, we didn't get to... Look, I got a lot better gas mileage than I would have. Locked up in 4th gear, I was running 2,300 RPM at 85 miles an hour. So incredible gas mileage for that. But I didn't get to do a lot of, downshifting or anything else like that. We also took the 10-bolt rear end because it is a leaf spring car. We went ahead and turned it into a positive. We got a new carrier. We got 355 gears. And we put our 15-inch rallies on there with a pretty tall tire. So it's a good combination and just a lot of fun. Custom build the exhaust here, and we've got 2.5-inch with Flowmasters on it all the way out the back.
How was the sound on highway travel?
Oh, it's incredible. We've got some road, some noise deadener in there, Dynamat stuff,
yeah.
And that does help a lot. I run my exhaust a little bit off the floor of the car, a little bit lower. I'm not worried about it dragging. It's still high enough, but I try to keep some of that sound out of it. When we were running the exhaust before, we dumped it out right after the rear wheels, and with the windows down, you could get some fumage in there. So we pulled it out the back this time. I even notched the back of the bumper a little bit to bring the exhaust up right and tight.
Kind of like that car at the show you saw.
Just like that show. But I didn't do all the beveling or anything else. My bumper has a little rust. My car is patinaed out, and I don't know if you've got a photo for it for later in there, but we'll do that when we go through that Tech Talk question that we've got from Larry that we're good to happen with. So the trip was phenomenal, and we loved it. And then I got back that Thursday, and then 2 days later drove it down. I think I already changed the transmission.
Yeah.
And we drove it down to Stuart, Florida, to the Henry Dana, the Hot Rods for Henry show. So that was all so much fun, man. It was so much fun. We got a radio in there, and we kicked the tunes, and it's got a little Bluetooth so you can plug in and enjoy your stuff. And man, the mountains. I'm from Florida. I'm a 4th generation Floridian. So to me, seeing a mountain is like you coming from Washington and checking out the beach.
Yeah.
Except when you go check out the beach, there's girls.
Yeah, I do miss the mountains. I'm going to have to go and take a vacation out in someplace with mountains at some point. And, the mountains I'm used to with the Continental Divide, in Tennessee is nothing compared to what we have out west, or what I had out west.
Yeah, but the Blue Ridge Mountains are nice. They're very nice. I'm looking at some land out there that I like to get. And I am, in fact, taking another trip back out to South Carolina and Tennessee. I think I'm leaving on the 11th or 10th, which is Veterans Day coming up next week and stuff. So that'll be another little fun trip that I get to go and enjoy. Trips to take, man. There are so many things going on right now. I want to mention that this weekend, as we're recording here on a Wednesday, it's November 1st. SEMA's going on out in Las Vegas, October 31st to November 3rd. So it is at the convention center right now going on. And I just talked with John Cramen from Mecum, and he's out there. And he's doing his thing, and that's incredible. We're going to be seeing him in just 2 months in January. We're going to talk a little bit about that coming up. But SEMA, I had a friend that went 1 year and loved it. I've got a good friend who has gotten to go out. He's a stereo installer called, his name is Scott, and he owns 2-bit stereo systems in Indian Harbor Beach, Melbourne, Florida. And he got to go out there to SEMA, and I'll have to get him on the horn one time and talk with him about how it was for him. It was beautiful. So I
got a bug that has been harassing me. It landed. It finally landed. It landed on my microphone.
The first segment, you'll see me, stop and pause, and Bryce is in there doing the net cut thing, and I'm like, what, glitch, problem, something? And he was in there getting a gnat. He's got the different microphone set up, but I think that his foam, see, Bryce is a bartender too. He's a man of many, many talents. But Bryce, I wonder if that microphone got a little bar on there, a little beer on there at the bar, and maybe that's a bar fly.
It could be.
Barflies, they are clingy.
I haven't checked his ID though, so.
Yeah. Love it. So coming up this January 2nd through the 14th. This is going to be Mecum auction coming back out to Kissimmee, Florida. This is going to be the Mecum's 25th anniversary. 25 years they've been doing this, and every year they grow. They grow in size. They grow in performance. They grow with the amount of car count that they have, the road art. They grow with the amount of circus tents that they bring out. They grow with the amount of semis that they drive in. And their car count so far, we've still got 2 full months to go of registration. And they're already over 3,000 cars, John said today. They are reaching that goal of 4,000 cars in 11 days. And Bryce, we've been out to it. We go to it. It is fast and furious, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome. And I'll tell you, this year I'm taking the time off, and I want to do like start to finish. I want to be there because I was taking photos as fast as I could, but I felt like I barely scratched the surface of what was there.
But it's overwhelming. I mean, there's so many cars and there's so much going on, and the fascinating people and the stories behind the cars. And if you start reading the build sheets that they've got on them or stuff, you really start to learn about it, and then you want to follow it more. You go, you see it out in the field, you're looking at it, you're taking some videos, some pictures, and then you see it come across the block. And now you've got to sit there and you're like, hey, I'm ready to watch this and follow it through. We go out there with our media passes. We get to do this. David Morton, he's the director of marketing for Mecum, and he always takes care of us and our listeners with a trivia question. And we've had a lot of fun with them. We got to do Mecum again out in Chattanooga, and that was their second year there. I want to find out next week from John how that went, and maybe we can get him on later this month and talk a little preview of to what's coming up with Kissimmee. So that again is going to be the 14th or the 2nd through the 14th of January. This is their 25th anniversary. This is at the Osceola Heritage Park, 1875 Silver Spur Lane. And if you are a person that lives out of state, come to Florida during the winter. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah,
that's why we have so many snowbirds. It's massive. So come out.
And flying into Orlando is about the cheapest ticket you can find.
Yeah.
From basically anywhere.
And you don't have to stay in Orlando. No.
Just flying in because of all the theme parks and whatnot. There's so many flights coming in. It's dirt cheap. So
yeah.
It's the way to go.
Yeah, and it's not a holiday. If you wanted to think about it, the following month after that is Daytona 500. There's so much reason to come to Florida during the winter. Targa 66 pulling up in there as well.
Which, by the way, once he started talking about the road course on the infield at Homestead, I realized I've done thousands of laps in the simulator on that road course.
Have you?
So I would love to actually do it.
All right, so let me say this, and I'm working to get a couple of my cars done, but I think now you're allowed 3 cars, 2 drivers.
Yep.
You don't have to be licensed. I was licensed by NASCAR when I used to race way back in my roundy tracks, but I would take the Nova, and if we got, I've got 16 cars, right? We just got to finish another one.
Yeah, you got a couple of vets back there right now. Are those an option?
Well, no. One, I just bought one, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit too. That's the 96 C4, but the 82, that's a crossfire injection. That is a customer's. He's going to come. He's flying into town next week, and he's going to pick it up, and he'll be here for the winter. So no, that's not an option. But I do have friends with some other cars and stuff that maybe we can get out there and do. But I've got so many. I think I can get another one built for this. Even the Stealth. Maybe I get my Stealth done. That would be a fun one on the road course, huh?
As long as it's got good balance. That's the main thing.
Yeah, it's a 91. Yeah, V6 automatic. Should be great. Low center of gravity.
Yeah.
Pretty big fat stock tires. So maybe that's another one to get done. But yeah, I would be, I know James invited us out there to do the media side of it, Bryce. Look, it's a write-off.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm ready.
Man.
I'm ready. Put me in.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about that off the air. So, all right. So we started out with Mecum. I'm going to come back to them, and I don't know how much we've got in that segment, Bryce. My clock is off.
Right. It's probably pretty close to.
Yeah, well, then let's go ahead and cut to break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Melissa Dunn-Wise with the Hot Rods for Henry, and we're going to talk a little bit more about a couple cars that are coming up on Meekum that their profiling is featured. So stay tuned. This is the American Car Classics radio program. Be right back.
Coming at you like a ball of fire. You better let me be. Coming at you, a wings of desire. You better pin up on a chain on me now. I'm out of the tail now, baby. And nothing you can do. I'm coming to get you. Alright. Woo!
Hey, everybody. I get into it, man. I can't talk enough about Greg Billings, Stranger Band, everything that he does for us. Thank you so much, Greg. I'm Kenny Schofield. This is the American Car Classics radio podcast. On the phone with us right now is Melissa Dunn-Wise. This is the daughter of Henry Dana. Melissa, you got your ears on?
I do.
That's an old trucking term. How you been?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am good. It's been a good week so far. It is Wednesday hump day. You're just getting off of work. I got off about an hour ago to start doing this thing that I love even more than work. But today, it's windy as hell outside. Do you know that?
It is very windy.
Yeah. Here on the river, man, I think we're banking 32 miles an hour or something. It's kind of nuts. So I came out and saw you, what has it been, 10 days ago?
10 days ago.
Yeah. So we had you put on Melissa. Man, if you aren't smiling and if you aren't proud of yourself, let me tell you how proud of yourself you should be. I saw you again choke up trying to keep your dad's memory and the cause of everything that you were doing together, but you were supported by more beautiful people than I have seen one person supported by in a while. So congratulations to you on that. The turnout was phenomenal. This is the second annual Hot Rods for Henry. And please tell me a little bit about your setup, your crew behind you, and your take on the day.
Okay. For starters, I use Lou's Crew, L-E-W, Lou's Crews. They have a show out of Stewart, but he helps me. He's helping me. This is his second year helping me, playing the music, doing the advertising, the DJing at the show, anything and parking the cars. So their crew is a big help. And of course, I have family and friends helping, volunteering, doing whatever they can to help me make this happen.
You sure do, Melissa. You sure do. The weather was absolutely spectacular. It was a gorgeous day. We had some lemonade. I think it was like $12, but I don't care. It was incredible. We saw some hot rods like your dad would build, the 32s, and they were lined up, 9 of them in a row. There was one that was on a white frame. It had an LS with twin turbos. The guy said he had them detuned as much as he possibly could because driving it any other way was difficult. There was a beautiful copper Nova out there that I just fell in love with because I've got my Nova. And beautiful people willing to share time with you, talk about their cars. You gave away some great looking trophies. You had a lot of participation. And I said again, help from your family and friends, second to none. Melissa, you should be so proud of all that.
I definitely am, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys, including you.
Well, we just came out. We were going to help you with a tire change challenge, and I came in kind of late and had a spot, and then we had to figure out what awards were going to be at 1 o'clock. I didn't think, as your announcer from Lou's helped out afterwards, he said, hey, we could do it afterwards. There was no prize for it. I guess maybe we're just going to, competition and somebody gets to walk away with that. But we ended up not doing it. I ended up taking off, which was good. I ended up helping somebody with a flat tire and a motorhome on the way home. But you did get to give away some great trophies. And one girl won 2 of them, best paint, and I don't remember what else. But it was good. And I didn't know your dad. My buddy Steve, who is very close to you and the family, did know your dad, and he has shared several stories with me out of NASCAR and out of his shop in Vero and all this stuff. And let's talk about Henry Dana for a minute.
Well, he was a phenomenal human being. He started off as a teenager working at a garage with his grandfather, working on cars. And then he got into junior drag racing and then up with the big boys at the Gator Nationals and Englishtown up in Jersey and other places like that. And then he moved to Florida and opened up Action Speed Shop, which was a transmission shop in downtown Fort Pierce.
Fort Pierce, yeah.
And then he moved on to Fort Pierce off of Oleander Avenue with Dana's Hot Rod Shop for about 20 years, building street rods and hot rods for people around the world. Unfortunately, we had to close the business due to my mother's breast cancer because she was the glue that made it stick together. She was the painter of the cars.
She was the painter, yeah. I mean, how phenomenal is that? This is a husband and wife team that was true. And Melissa, I've seen some pictures of you getting off the school bus, going to the shop and sanding cars.
Yes, sanding cars.
It truly was a family affair, right?
Yes, it definitely was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is incredible. I love that you get to carry your dad's memory on in such an incredible way. We talk, remind me of the garage again, Black Dog?
Black Dog Garage.
Black Dog Garage. This again, as I said a month ago when we talked the first time, that where I met so many people like Rick Silverstein and stuff. But it is, what a great car family you have. I mean, so blessed. I'll bet you go shopping, you see friends, you go to breakfast or dinner or something and you see friends with the cars. And I'm sure that it's just got to feel so good to continue to see your dad's work and your dad's friends around. These guys have been together, some of them 70 years.
At least.
And they don't stop. So that is.
I had a friend having dinner in Palm Beach about a year ago. She called me and she heard some car guys across from her eating, and she went up to them and asked them, what were they speaking about? And they were talking about Henry Dana, and she said she almost fainted, being that she was in Palm Beach and they knew my father.
I got chicken skin. I swear I almost pulled a tear. It's got to feel great, doesn't it, Melissa? Because your dad isn't with us anymore, and that is the hardest part about all of it. But to my dad, lived in 92, and he's got a great legacy with the family. But your dad left something that people get to continually enjoy. And I don't know when that will stop. I mean, inevitably, if the cars remain, then they get to continue passing the story of Henry Dana.
They certainly do. And I hope that they all do continue to do so.
Well, we hope that you continue doing what you're doing to bring aware to the sadness of depression and suicide. And this is where we get into the talk about Henry Dana's foundation that you have created in his name to help people that, as I said at the beginning of the show, when I talked about you coming on, the plight of how do you reach out? Maybe even as a man, how do you put that down and say, it doesn't care how manly I am, how big I have to be, reputation, feeling, whatever, to sit there and try to call someone or talk to somebody at breakfast about depression, anger, frustration, all those things that lead people to making that choice that is a choice you don't take back, right?
Right. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yeah. And boy, I love saying that phrase. I utter it to people with the gun violence more than I could say. So tell me a little bit about the foundation real quick.
Well, as you know, I started it about 6 months ago, and it's for people like my father, people in trouble with depression, social abuse, drinking, stuff like that. Any kind of things like that's having mental health issues, and I am here to help them, whether it be a phone call, seeking treatment, helping them with medical care, living, arrangements, whatever, to save someone else's life. So no other family has to go through what I've been through and my family's been through.
Yeah.
Would be, even if it's just one person, I know I've done good, and I know that whatever I am doing is working.
Give me your foundation name and how people can get a hold of that and what they can do when they get there.
Okay, it's www.henrydanafoundation.com. And there's, if you'd like to donate towards the cause, there is a donate button on the site as well. Any amount helps, whether it be $1 or $10. Any amount helps and is much appreciated. And that will be going towards someone that needs help. It could be someone you know. It could be your coworker, your neighbor, your UPS driver. It could be anybody. You don't know anyone's situation.
Yeah, you can't see it when they walk up. They don't have a shirt on that says, I need help.
Correct. You can't see their mental health.
Well, Melissa, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate Steve for introducing me to you and getting to know you. I think you remember me walking around that first day at Black Dog Garage. I was staring at everything on the walls. I was looking at the cars that weren't being shown. They were back in the back, kind of, covered or whatever. And I still was drawn in by all of it. But what I walked away with most that day was these guys sitting there 70, 80 years old. And they were talking about high school.
Yes.
And they were talking.
In their hot rods.
In their hot rods. And man, just how cool to go back in time and be a fly on the wall for something like that and just to see it all. So I love what you do. I don't ever want it to stop. I want to keep going every year and help you make it bigger and better. And the awareness, I want to continue to bring that out to people and let them understand that as a man, hey, I talk to my people all the time about what goes on in my head because I have to, because it's important. So don't ever be shy. Pick up a phone, call somebody. All right. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us today. I love and appreciate you and the cause. And I'm sorry that you have to do it under the circumstances in which you do. Everything is meant for a reason. You picked the ball up. You're running with it. You're fabulous. Don't slow down. Okay.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And I thank everybody for supporting my foundation and my father.
Absolutely. We're not going to be a year before we talk to you about it again. Okay.
Certainly not.
All right. Thank you. Take care and have a good Thanksgiving coming up. All right.
You as well, and stay safe.
All right. Appreciate you.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. On that note, I'm going to say to Bryce, let's kick it to another recess. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in.
I like to think I'm getting pretty good at that, but Greg is the best, man. He can make himself sound like a train coming off the tracks. It is incredible. This is the American Car Classics radio program podcast. I do appreciate all of you tuning in. Please get on there and like something. Subscribe to one of our spots that you can.
Leave comments. Give us feedback.
Yeah.
If you think the show sucks, let us know. If you think it's great, let us know about that.
Yeah, if you can talk to us about something that you'd like to hear more of or see less of, including my face, we can do something with this. We do want to hear from you all. We do appreciate the feedback, as Bryce said, a ton. It helps us. The algorithms, as you know, that everybody that's on the air wants an algorithm base. They want to have some chat and conversation. We're not afraid to whore ourselves out there and ask for it. This is not work to me. Work was Dolphin Auto. I got off at 4 o'clock and started this thing here, and this is the pride and joy of the day. I like to think that I didn't create this, but I have taken it over and fathered it and nurtured it, and I'm proud of it. And I had 3 other partners. Let's just talk for a second. I had three other hosts in here last year, and they're all gone. They're feeding off another guy, and we're going to be all right with that too. So we're just doing our thing, and right now I don't have anybody else to help me out other than Bryce. But you know what? 2's good, man. 4 might be a crowd. I don't know. So getting back into our show here, I want to talk about 4 cars that are being highlighted in the Kissimmee Mecum show that's coming up from I got to go back and look at my cheat sheet, the 2nd to the 14th at Osceola Heritage Park in Kissimmee. Like I said, there's going to be 4,000 registered cars, trucks, motorcycles. They've got road art. If you are a guy that likes signage, vintage signage, porcelain, LED, dealerships, they've got it. Mecum.com. One of the 4 that they are doing is my favorite car. I say in history, I fell in love with the 63 split window Corvette. I am a 66 born kid, and I love the 67 Stingray, which as I've matured is probably my favorite car. But the 63 split window limited 1 year, beautiful. They've got one coming up here that is the split window coupe. It is one of 278 produced with factory air conditioning, multiple time NCRS top flight winner. So it's going to be shown on Saturday, the 13th.
What's the lot number?
I don't know. I can't read that, man. 968. 968.
What's the first? Is there a letter?
Yeah, it's kind of faded. It looks like it's an R, but it is.
That's all right.
Yeah. R968 main attraction. So the next one is R933. Lot R933, and this is going to be a 71 Plymouth Hemi Cuda, 4-speed rotisserie restoration, one of 108 produced. So that's going to be a good money. And I think that Bryce and I might take a couple silly wild ass guesses on this, on these 4, and talk about that later. Lot number R914. This is a 72 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 Coupe, an LT1 350 with 255 horsepower. It's a V8, one of 20 produced for 1972 in Bloomington Gold certified, and this is a Triple Crown recipient. So that's a hell of a car too. And another one they've got, another Corvette, is a 69 L88 Coupe. This is going to be lot number R912. It is a 427, 430 horsepower, 4-speed, one of 116 produced.
Nice.
Low number production seems to be the key on that.
Well, it's the same thing with baseball cards. It's the same thing with anything. If the fewer there are, the higher the price.
Because only how many? If you've got one here, the 71 Plymouth Hemi Cuda, what do you say? One of 108 produced in 71. We're talking 52 years ago, Bryce. Out of 108, how many are still on the road? I don't care about condition. Shit to best.
Just still rolling and engine turning.
50%? Yeah. Are you talking 54 cars?
It's a great question. Well, last year, what was it? This past winter, when that Ram Air 4 with that peach color took $1 million.
Yeah.
That GTO Judge. It wasn't any different mechanically than the other GTOs that were running right next to it. It was just the fact that I think somebody said there were only 16 made with that particular peach color.
Yeah.
And that's what made it valuable.
And how many of those are left? I mean, you've got to be talking, and not in rotisserie condition or anything. Certainly to see that GM bring $1 million was incredible.
Yeah.
But production number, I mean, it could be one of 20 and it not in great condition.
Right.
How many are left? How many are left? So that's just a good question. Something to follow up on some of these low number cars to find out what out of them are left and stuff. Because we all know that the kids got out there, they bought them, the 440 darts. They'd get 6 blocks from the dealership and be wrapped around a pole because they had little 70 polyglass tires and they just couldn't hold it.
Or like the Bandit Firebird.
Yeah.
I've seen that at every single show, every single Mecum that I've watched. So there has to be a ton of them out there. And do you think that they made a whole bunch, or do you think that particular car was one that people wanted to keep pristine through the years?
Or are they cloning a lot of them? People are badging them to look and not be certified of it. But when they are certified, I think people have brought them back because I've seen a lot of them worn down. I can't imagine. And Bryce, I don't know. Could you imagine buying a car and putting it away after 52 miles? I'm a driver. I love to enjoy.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine having a barn with a bunch of cars sitting in it. Did I go and turn the ignition once a month.
Right.
That's not what I'm in it for.
And that's not what I'm in it for. I guess if you had millions, maybe you've got some that you do go and rag and beat, but these are your prizes, and they sit there and they're just like, wow. And so you don't want to drive them because the investment, well, here again, if you paid a ton for it, then maybe you aren't going to go out and drive it a ton.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, Larry Lampkins, he wrote in on, the 68 to 72 Chevy Nova group on Facebook that I'm a member of. And, I have spoken with him. He lives in Kingsport, Tennessee. And I have my 70 Nova that we get to talk a lot about. But Larry's question was that, man, does he have a unicorn? And by that, I mean, does he got a needle in a haystack as far as a car, a rare car? This is Larry's 1969, what he calls a cream puff survivor. Her name is Black Betty, and she's got a straight 6-cylinder with a 2-speed power glide, which is exactly what my Lucy was. His still is. And he's asking the opinion of everybody around. This did come fully loaded with factory power front disc brakes and AC and power steering and the chrome package. So I mean, his dad that bought this, I believe this was his dad's car, and it was ordered with all these options that make it so much rarer, because the 6-cylinder, you really didn't hook air up to the 6-cylinder. It wasn't powerful enough to be handling and doing all that. Then you got power steering. That's another belt taking horsepower away. So to have those, it really is a rare car. But is it fun to drive when you're a horsepower guy?
Yeah, if you're looking for it to pull.
When I got Lucy, I cut the exhaust. I put split header on it and ran it as short as I could out each side before the back tire, and it was loud. It's still a 6-cylinder.
Yep.
2-speed. I put the 350 in it right away. So I had 3 gears. That helped some. It was still fun to drive, and I had her in there for like about a year and a half. Mike Carano came to me with a good motor that had been rebuilt by somebody out of Hendrick Motorsports, and it was out of a 74 Corvette, and he offered it to me real cheap, and I put it in, and that started the V8, and I've still got, Larry, I want to tell you, I've still got the original motor, transmission, the 14-inch wheels, the spare tire, I've still got it all, but I did change it. I have no regrets. I am happy to have done that. I think it was the right choice for me. My car is a factory one owner. I mean, it's a real one owner. I have not titled it because it's a true one owner car. Ray Evernham, I take it to a great show out in Chattanooga, and Ray Evernham has seen me in this car a couple of times. Wayne Carini too. But Ray, we talked about it again this year out in Chattanooga, and he last year, I mean, he chastised me. I get him on the phone, and he, when I saw him this year, I said, Patina Nova. He's like, Kenny. So he told me, I don't care that you still own it. You'll never put it back together. It'll never be the same. And I am eventually going to paint the car. But my answer to Larry is, and he had over 108 people answer this as well, I think you need to do what's going to make you happy with this car. And one of the guys that made a comment said, listen, this is a unicorn. It's a cherry. Maybe you keep it like this and you go budget to find another Nova that you can do whatever the hell you want to. LS it, build it up, twin turbos, supercharged, slam her to the ground, whatever. But maybe you keep that one the way it is. So that's my answer to that. And I appreciate being able to communicate with Larry and talk to him for a second about that. All right. So I do want to tell everybody that I appreciate the people that support this show. We do have a phone number, 772-584-1048. You can call, but I'm not going to answer. You can leave a voicemail. I will listen. Text messages work great. Okay. And if you've got a tech talk question or anything you want to say to us, please let us know that. That line is there available for you all. We have Bryce, what is I don't have a card in front of me. American Car Classics at yahoo.com. Do you know that? There's a card over there by you. You can reach it before.
The email address.
Yeah. So anyway, so I do want to thank Jake at APS Automotive Paint Supply, 43
24. That's 432 4th Lane Southwest, Vero Beach, Florida. They supply us with all of our paint supplies. So that is APS, Automotive Paint Supply. The phone number is 772-205-2727. I have just sold the motor that was in Lucy to Jake. Jake has bought a square body C10, and he has brought it here to the shop. And he has asked us to build this truck, full paint, everything else. So I can't wait to start on this and follow up on it each week with you all in progress. We're going to get Jake out here to talk a little bit about his store and the love that he has for our show and for his truck. So we're doing that. Also, we are supported by O'Reilly Auto Parts. As you can tell, the banner behind me. We're going to be hosting a Cars and Coffee with O'Reilly's here in Sebastian, Florida. That's going to be 220 Sebastian Boulevard. Lisa Weldeck, she is the manager out at the Sebastian store, and she's going to start up the Cars and Coffee customer appreciation. Let the community grow with this store that's been here now for, I think, 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, as O'Reilly is growing. Our area sales rep is Don, and he is an incredible guy, and he always comes in to hook us up and help us out and make sure that we're doing the right thing and make sure that they're doing the right thing by us, with us, and for us. So O'Reilly Auto Part, this is going to be Saturday, the 4th of November. Then they're going to go ahead and do one every other Saturday, the 18th of November, the 2nd of December, the 16th, and the 30th of December. We'll take a week off there for Thanksgiving. This is open to everybody. They're going to be offering free coffee and pastries. I think I'm going to try to bring a cooler with some water and some sodas or something. We don't have tons and tons of room right now, but if we get 10, 20 people come out, if we get some people just to come and say hello and shake our hands and say hi and learn a little bit more about us, O'Reilly's American Car Classics Radio, Dolphin Auto, as I whore that place too, and everything else. So it's going to be from 8 to 11. And we're going to get Lisa on the phone next week, see how it went, and talk about the next one coming up. And that is at 220 Sebastian Boulevard. And come out and see us if you're local. All right. I appreciate the support on that one as well. Jasper Engines and Transmissions, Jacob Fairchild. He is our state area sales rep, and he is an incredible guy and a great, great personal friend. And I appreciate him and having Jasper be able to support the show as well. That means a lot to us as our budget is small and we try to grow. And here again, growing helps to come from you all supporting us as well. They can't say it enough. Facebook, YouTube, join us. Talk about it. Put some algorithms on there for us. You'll get the feedback. Last but most of all, they wet me down all day, every day through these 9-month-long summers here in Florida. Affordable water. That's some good stuff. Man, if that isn't worth $1 million, huh, Bryce?
Definitely added to the sound effect collection.
Right on. Last but not least, I'm going to give a quick shout out as I say thank you to Bryce for always continuing to come in and help produce the best quality that we can do here for everybody to enjoy. And I do hope that everybody does enjoy it. A special shout out to my brother from another mother, Mr. Vance O'Neill. Vance has been going through fighting some cancer and doing some stuff that has plagued him for a little while. This is something that started from a lymphoma. Is that right?
Lymphoma,
and progressed to his brain. Right now, Vance has gone through a pretty massive stem cell series of stuff that they're pulling from brain and reinserting. He is in the Moffitt Center for Cancer in Tampa right now. Moffitt is incredible. Helped the great friend of mine, Fred Bolden, as well with his lymphoma. So to Vance, I love you. I miss you. I've been over to see you a couple times this summer. I'm going to get back over. Vance has a badass big block 69 Camaro convertible. It is white with the orange fat stripes, and he loves his girl. Man, he's owned this car for probably a quarter of a century, I bet. Anyway, 25 years probably. To Vance's wife, Malia, I love you for supporting your husband as much as you have. I know that you're sitting in the hospital, bored off your ass,
And I just thank you so much for not wavering on your love and commitment and devotion to your husband. He's worth every bit of it. So with that, I'm going to say this has been a great show. I've gone some highs and some lows, some laughs and some sorrow. I want everybody to keep pushing as we go into the holidays. Depression becomes an issue for a lot of us. Don't keep it inside. Talk to people. Get to a car show. Enjoy something. Breathe the air. Meet us. Talk. Don't ever keep it inside. All right? So, Bryce, thank you so much for everything. I'm Kenny Schofield. God bless you all. All right? Take care.